What's going on, guys? Welcome to our week 3 video. The topic for this week is mindfulness. Now, I'm switching it up a little bit for this video. I actually have a guest speaker on. One of my clients, Andrew Connor, was gracious enough to volunteer some of his time to not only write a guest blog post on my website, but also be a part of this video. He shares some great insight on how to be more mindful, the benefits, and also we have a great discussion on how it can actually help us in our workouts. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Andrew, introduce yourself to everybody watching.
All right, my name's Andrew Connor. I'm a registered marriage and family therapist intern. I'm based in Portland, Oregon. My supervisor's name is Naomi Baker, LMFT. And I see clients that live in Oregon online via video and over the phone.
Gotcha. So Andrew, the topic of my video this week is mindfulness. Can you explain to me what exactly mindfulness is?
Sure. So I'm going to borrow a definition of mindfulness given by Jon Kabat-Zinn, who is one of the pioneers of mindfulness in healthcare. He started mindfulness-based stress reduction. And he says that mindfulness is a kind of awareness that arises from paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally. So I'll break down that definition for you. What does it mean to pay attention on purpose? Well, if you think about our everyday, regular, mindless awareness, we might do something like sit down to write an email, and while we're writing this email, our mind may wander to 1,000 different places. We may think about what happened the day before, we may think about what may or may not happen next week, we may think about what we're going to have for dinner. Our mind goes to these places without our really noticing it. We're just kind of on autopilot. And when we're practicing mindfulness, we are being really intentional and purposeful about paying attention to where our attention is going moment to moment and tracking it. What does it mean to pay attention non-judgmentally? Well, if you're anything like me, you have a voice inside your head, an inner critic that is narrating every moment of your life, giving you a play-by-play, and often it's a very harsh inner critic and is very critical. So when we're practicing mindfulness, we are making an effort to suspend our judgment, to really be gentle with ourselves.
Why is practicing mindfulness important?
Yeah, so practicing mindfulness trains 3 core competencies that are really fundamental. One is to focus. One is to notice when our attention wanders and where it's going. And the other is to redirect that attention to the task at hand. There are a number of benefits that have been associated with mindfulness. There's been some really wonderful research that's been done in recent years on mindfulness. One is that it's been shown to improve focus. It's been shown to improve relationship satisfaction. Mindfulness has been shown to reduce emotional reactivities. So you're less likely to put your fist through a wall, for example, if you get angry. It's been shown to boost working memory. So working memory is the memory that we need to accomplish tasks. Also, mindfulness has been shown to reduce rumination. So rumination is when you're literally chewing something over and over in your mind. Maybe it's keeping you up at night. It's been shown to reduce that tendency. And finally, and I think this is a really interesting one, mindfulness has been shown to reduce implicit bias based on age and race. So unfortunately, we know that we can be racist and ageist without even thinking about it. And mindfulness has been shown to reduce that unconscious tendency, which I think is really fascinating and important. So suffice it to say that there are many potential benefits to gain from practicing mindfulness, not the least of which just gaining more insight into the patterns of our mind and our thought processes.
That's really cool.
Absolutely.
So Andrew, how does one practice being mindful?
Well, I think maybe the best way to explain would just be to take you through a basic mindfulness practice, if that sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so just come sit up and sit with your back straight and close your eyes if you're comfortable and just breathe. Breathe through your nose, in and out. Place your awareness on the sensation of the breath. Place your awareness on the sensation of the breath as it enters the nostrils and exits the nostrils with the exhale. Now place your awareness on the sensation of the breath entering your chest. Feel your chest rising with the in-breath, falling with the out-breath. Now place your awareness on your belly and feel the sensation of your belly expanding with the in-breath and contracting with the out-breath. And now rest your awareness on whichever of those three places that you feel called to, the sensation of your breath in the nostrils, in the chest, or in your belly, or you can choose to focus on a general sensation of the whole body. And when you notice your mind wander, just notice that your mind has wandered and gently place your awareness back on the sensation of the breathing. All right, you can relax. So that's a very, fundamental mindfulness practice, and I think an elegant and simple one. And that's something you can do every day. You can set a timer for 5 minutes, increase that to 10 minutes, 15 minutes as you get more experience with it. So what was that like for you, Matt?
It was really interesting because I've never actually had somebody guide me through one before. I've loaded up a YouTube video before, but like I know you personally. You're like one of my clients, and so it's cool for me to like picture your voice. We've known each other a while, and like you guiding me through this whole thing, completely different than me either doing it like on my own or even like loading up a YouTube video that's 5 minutes long. And so it's completely different experience. That was awesome. Like that, I could actually feel like my body relax just focusing on my breath coming in. I focused more on like the sensation in my chest. My level of stress went down just from that. So, Andrew, how does mindfulness relate back to fitness?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Ultimately, the goal with mindfulness practice is to take it into your everyday life. I can think of many times when you've invited me to be mindful in a particular movement, and I've always found that really helpful. It's a way for me to really up the quality of my workouts. I know you've told me some fascinating things about the mind-muscle connection, and I think that's really applicable to what we're talking about. So maybe you could say something about that.
A big thing that I've noticed in my experience as a trainer is some people are just like not body aware and they just go through the motions. And it's so important to actually be mindful of the movements that you're doing in the gym for multiple reasons. I mean, the biggest one is like injury prevention. So knowing what's right and what's wrong when you're doing a movement. If you're feeling a deadlift and it's only in your low back, that's a problem. First, it's probably your form that's wrong. Second, if you're feeling things where you're not supposed to, that's a big cue that you're probably doing something wrong. Or you just need to redirect your attention, like you said, to where you should be feeling it. If you can focus on that one area, it helps. I have some clients where if I actually like palpate on their body where they should be feeling something, it instantly like turns on that mind muscle connection. I personally feel like the mind muscle connection is something that most gym goers, especially inexperienced gym goers, don't even pay attention to. They just show up to the gym, they go through the motions, and then they leave. And it's not to say that that's not an effective way of working out. If you put your body under load in any capacity, you're technically working out. But to your point, the increase in quality and efficiency, mindfulness can add so much to it. And focusing on that mind muscle connection can bring so much more quality to your workout. This can actually relate back to my first video on it. And I referenced a study that was done in 2016, and it was the bicep curl study, the high load versus no load training groups. And they saw that there was little statistical difference between the two. So that is a case in point that being mindful and like feeling movement can be just as effective as moving a heavy load.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think in our modern world, often we're kind of disembodied. we spend a lot of time on screens and on our computers, and we're not always very aware of our bodies. And that's something mindfulness can help us to do, is to come into more contact with our bodies.
Yeah. Have you noticed that same body awareness that you have in fitness has carried over in your day-to-day life? Like whether you go on walks or if you have to like pick up something heavy, have you noticed that like you are more mindful of the way that you mechanically move now versus when you weren't, regularly into fitness?
For sure, yeah, that's something I pay attention to a lot, is how I pick things up. Lift with the knees, not with the back, that kind of thing. Certainly very exciting to have this conversation and then to talk about how our two fields converge.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Very cool. Thank you so much for the interview, Andrew. I really appreciate it. If people want to look you up and find you, where can they do that?
For sure. Thank you so much, Matt. This has been very much been a pleasure. Feel free to check out my website. It's andrewconnertherapy.com. That's Conner, Conner. If you have any questions for me, my email is on the contact page. It's andrew@andrewconnertherapy.com. And if you're interested in exploring mindfulness in the context of therapy, I do have some openings as well. So look forward to hearing from you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Andrew. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Andrew. He'd be happy to help you. Hopefully you can use some of the topics that we covered in this video for your upcoming week. As always, much love. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.